Okay, master Google Analytics in minutes for e-commerce. Are you drowning in Google Analytics data, completely unsure what any of it actually means for your e-commerce store? What if I could tell you that there is just really one report that you need to look into to find all the insights that you need to grow your sales? In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what one of those areas are and how you can use it to make profitable decisions for your business. I see it every day. Store owners get overwhelmed with all the charts, numbers in Google Analytics. But the good news is you don't need to master everything. You just need to focus on the data that tells you what you need to do next. So let's cut through all the noise. Before we start, make sure that your GA4 is properly integrated. You can have a look at this video. It is a walkthrough in terms of how you can do it yourself in less than 5 minutes. Now, let's get started. Always remember, think in a structured manner. What I mean by that is there is always a very method to madness. You don't need to just open Google Analytics, randomly look at reports. You always need to clearly understand what is the fundamental question that you are answering over here. Now, everybody would say that, okay, I want to make more revenue, which is a valid question, but there are more fundamental questions that you should be asking that will answer you what you need to do to actually increase your revenue. So, these are all the overall questions that you need to first of all understand. First is where all the customers are coming from. Second is what is the current traffic trends? What is the best performing channel? Understanding your customer graphics if you sell in multiple countries, understanding the geographic contributions to how much revenue, understanding your demography, and what is the device split. Now, these are all fundamental questions that you need to ask. Now, you might be saying that there is no report that shows all of these, which in return you are correct. But there is something called as Looker Studio where you can create a custom report, which I will show you how you can get it at the end of the video. So to answer the first question, where are all the customers coming from? If you look, so this is a report that we currently use for all of our existing clients. I'll probably just pause it, open up for our client's data and show it to you. We have already got permission for this, so it's not an issue. Okay, just to show you now, just to answer all of your questions right now. First question is where your customers are coming from. So here you can see that what is your main traffic channel, and this is based on active users, so how many actual customers are coming, and this is based on revenue, so you can also understand that how much each channel is actually contributing to your revenue. So from here we can see that 43% of the customers for this specific store is coming from Google Analytics, from Facebook paid, but they are only contributing to 27% of it. There is a major chunk from here, which is around 25%, that is actually contributing for like direct revenue. Now, obviously, there is going to be some customers who will be like recurring customers. So it's a different thing over here. We can't see it directly over here, which we can see later on. But you can see that all the metrics from where your customers are coming from and which channels is actually contributing to majority of the revenue. Quick pause, we'll get right back to the video. If you're running an e-commerce store and you have more than 50,000 visitors per month, you already know the importance of having a blazingly fast website. So right now we are running a special offer. If you have more than 50,000 visitors, we will actually increase your page speed by 50% for PDP, at least. If you can't, we'll give you your money back. If this sounds interesting, book a call in the link below. And all right, back to the video. The second question that you're going to ask is, what is the current traffic trend? Which you can see over here. So if you see for this specific store, over the whole year, the traffic has increased, and also like there has been a like up and down sort of thing, but the traffic has not increased significantly. So the traffic trend, if you see, it starts over here and it ends over here, which is an increase, but it's not a very large increase. So we can say that this traffic has been pretty much constant over the years. Now, the next thing that we're going to look into is what is the best performing channel. Now, this gives us an overall view of what the channels are and where the revenue is coming from. But to do a very more deep, to do a better deep dive, you need to see over here. So what are the channels? What is the total amount of revenue? What is the revenue per session? All of it. You can see everything from here. Now, the next question that we're going to ask over here is understanding your customer's geography. So So you can see for this is a different store again. So the data might look totally different. But as you can see over here, you can see that what are the countries from where the customers are coming from. And again, a similar thing that which country contributes to most of the revenue. Now, if you see over here, I specifically mentioned that this is valid only if you're selling into multiple countries. If you're not selling in multiple countries, it does not matter. One thing it can help is, let's say there is some sort of organic traffic that you are getting from certain country which you are unaware of, which is like hardly like, the chances of that is pretty slim. But just for that, you can really see, okay, so I'm getting an influx of traffic, let's say from somewhere in Europe, and you can actually start running ads for that specific market and also grow for that market. Now coming over here, this is again a more deeper dive breakdown into like in terms of countries and how much revenue each of the country is actually generating for that specific store. The next question that you should be asking is, do you understand your demographic? Now this is optional to some extent. The reason why I say this is because a lot of these stores have this unknown pie, which is the largest of all. I've generally seen this to be around 70-75%. So obviously majority of the people, we don't know the gender, so we can't really accurately track it, but still it gives a rough estimate of what type of demographic you have, or at least what is the most amount of demographic that you have. So for this store, we can see that the male demographic is a bit higher at around 16% compared to 11% for female. And also what is the general age range. Now again, over here also we can see that there is a lot of revenue that is being attributed to unknowns, which is like normal, but this is pretty much standard and it's not an issue from your end. It's just how the whole attribution is currently set up due to everything. The last question that we are going to ask over here as a fundamental question to understand is, what is the device breakdown, right? So coming down over here, this four part, like the four charts that we can see over here, are very important to understand what is the main device split. So for example, we can see that a lot of like currently we have seen like a lot of store owners, they focus more on mobile for very valid reason. About 70 to 80% of the store for of the traffic does come from mobile for a lot of store owners. But for this specific store, those are not like, that is not the norm, right? So over here we can see that it's a pretty even split when it comes to desktop and mobile. So again, it's good that you are making decisions in terms of generalized decisions. So you are developing first for mobile and then for desktop, but always make sure that your decisions are backed by some sort of data. Don't just make decisions out because it's normal, because your store is one of a kind and it's not everybody else's store. So again, a lot of the decisions that you are going to take is going to be specifically for your store. So please make sure that you are actually looking into the data and making sure that the decision that you're taking, it's not a very generalized decision. It's rather based on your store data. Okay. Now you can see over here how many people are coming from mobile. What is the revenue split that we can see? So we can see that a lot of revenue split is coming from desktop. So over here, what this specific store means is we can focus on a lot of features specifically catered to desktop customers, because again, we are getting a lot of visitors, a lot of customers for that. So that is what I was saying, that always figure out what your data is and based on that make decisions. Now coming below over here, again, this is another like table format, pretty much the same data, just for better readability. Now, once you have understood all of these fundamental questions, we will take a deep dive and understand on a deeper level where your issue arises from. Okay. Now, to understand this, we need to understand a couple of more things. So, the first thing that we need to understand is, where do your customers land? So, what is the first visit? So, as you can see, that this is first on the home page. Again, for the second part, for 33%, there is a not set, which can be an issue. Will have to check it for this specific store in terms of why it's showing not set, because it should be showing some sort of page. It's either home page or whatever might be the case. But as we can see that there is some sort of tracking issue that is happening over here. The second thing is, which is the page that is generating most amount of revenue. Now we have to understand that, okay, so what is the whole user flow and which page? So let's say for this store, they don't have like a lot of landing pages, But if you have a lot of landing pages, that can also help. Obviously, you'll have to exclude the home page, but other than that, you can see that which page is generating most amount of revenue when it comes to like this page. Okay, the next thing that we again have a very clear like table which describes what the bounce rate, sessions average, duration, conversion rate, all of those are over here. The next thing that we are going to the next question rather is going to be what your people are actually searching for. Now there are one thing like this is again valid for only if your store has like a lot of SKUs. If your store does not have like a lot of SKUs, don't focus on this. It's not valid for your store. The last question and the main question is what is your main drop off and where is it happening? What we understand from here is, so this is a funnel. A funnel generally has 5 steps: session started, view item, add to cart, begin checkout, and purchase. We need to figure out from begin checkout to view item, where exactly are the customers dropping off, and we need to like work on that part and increase the conversion for that specific part. And it does take a bit of time for to actually like figure out why is it happening. We will explain what you can do to over here, but just to explain this funnel a bit better, as you can see over here, there is a session started, which is basically when the customer lands on the page and the session is getting started. Then we have view item. We can see that from session started to view item, there is a 30% drop over here. There is around 70% of the customers that go from step 1 to step through, but 30% of the customers are dropping off. Now over here from view item, which is basically like customers opening up the landing page, then clicking on add to cart, we are seeing that there is a 77% drop over here. From add to cart to begin checkout, there is 67%, and from begin checkout to purchase, there is a 71%. From here, we can understand from view item to add to cart, there is a very high drop in the add to cart rate. Now we need to work on this specific flow first of all. You don't need to work on the session started or the begin checkout to purchase. You just need to focus on these 2 steps and figuring out what you can do to actually increase this. Now, in terms of how you can understand what you need to do. Once you understand where the main drop off is happening, go to heatmap.com or clarity.com. These are session recording softwares that you can use to actually see how users are actually interacting with the whole site. What's the session recordings on how users are interacting with the page? Next is check customer reviews. People will actually say that what is the issue if they had any sort of issues. Check the 1 star, 2 stars, all of those. See if the customers have mentioned any specific issue on that specific page. So search for, let's say, a product page, or in this case, add to cart. Search for these sort of revenues, these sort of search terms in customer reviews, and you'll be able to understand that, okay, so these might be the issues over here. The third step is going to be exporting customer tickets, analyzing them, and seeing what these specific customers are saying about that page. Now, you probably are using some sort of customer like ticketing software, for example, like Gorgeous or something or the other, Zendesk, or something like that. Now you have to understand, you can export all of those reviews and you can run it through, for example, some sort of LLM, or you can do some sort of like word configuration to figure out what is the main word that people are saying the most, and you can figure out where the issue is and if that issue is related to that specific page. So what we hear, the whole idea for this part is just to make sure that we decrease this value as much as we can. Once you actually once you have done this, you pretty much have to like do this, like keep doing this constantly. You have to do like a whole QA after like every 3 months, because let's say if you're running ads and you're getting solid amount of traffic, the number of reviews, number of people like how customers interact and everything does change from time to time. So we generally do this audit every 3 months for each of our customers to really understand that what has changed and what we need to focus on for the next split. Now this is how you use Google Analytics to analyze the main issue of any store. Now if you want to discuss this, it's a free Shopify consultation call. You can get on a call. We can discuss what are the things that we can do for your store and how we can help you increase your conversion rate. Thank you. Okay, last but not the least, I said that I'll share with you how you can access it. So below I'll be sharing a link for our website where you can go and you can find this link. I'll share this with you, and you can just change the value over here. That will be your Google Analytics account that you want to configure over here, and change the date. what I would first like suggest you to do is change it and check it for the last quarter, and also for the last 6 months. So yeah, just check that, and I think you will find some nuggets. Let me know if you have any questions down in the comment. Thank you.